If you need any My Team grinds in any mode, hit up my boy Witty for safe, reliable, and the cheapest grinding services around. Hit him up on Twitter. You won't be disappointed. Yo, what is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we are going to be going through and ranking every single all-star card that dropped in packs here in NBA 2K25 MyTEAM. I don't have the festival cards in this video. I will do a tier list tomorrow on specifically the festival cards. Might not do a tier list. I might just do worst to best. I'm not totally sure how I'm going to do it. It'll either be a tier list or a worst to best for just the festival cards specifically, but that'll be tomorrow. Today, we're doing all the all-star cards that dropped in packs. I've randomized the order here, so I mixed it up where we got a mix of the opals, pink diamonds, and dark matters, but these are basically all the guys who are participating in All-Star Weekend or were slated to participate in the All-Star Weekend but were replaced because of injury. So before we hop into it, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 40,000 subscriber mark on the channel. Without further ado, let's hop right into it. We got 62 cards to rank, so I'm going to go pretty quick through a lot of these. James Harden, not elite defensively. Sigs aren't great, but his jumper's elite, and he is really good offensively in terms of stats and badges. Solid finisher. I do like the card. I don't love the card compared to a lot of these guys. I think B tier is probably the right spot for him. Alex Sarr, really good defensive card. Decent speed. Probably the biggest issue with him is only 83 speed, but he's got a smooth jumper. He's a good shooter. He's great defensively. He's athletic. He is one of the best of all the pink diamonds. Honestly, I think he's A tier, and Harden might get moved up as well. Wemby's S tier, best center in the game, one of the best cards in the game, arguably the best card in my team still. He is just that man, plain and simple. There's no arguing it. Wemby is incredible and an easy choice as an S tier option on this list. Amen Thompson, honestly, if Amen Thompson was point guard eligible, I'd be really high on him. As is at shooting guard, he's just not that great of a shooter. His jumper's not god tier either, but what makes him really good is he is an elite level defender, so he's got that going for him, if nothing else. And I do think he's a really solid card. I don't know. I think B tier is probably the right spot for him, maybe even C. Giannis is S tier. That card is incredible. I think I slept a little bit on some of Giannis's other cards this year. I mean, as good as they were, I was pretty high on the opal. I wasn't that high on the pink diamond because he's not small forward eligible. This card is a better version of the opal. Higher three ball, better hot spots, and a faster jump shot. He is a dog. One of the best small forwards in the game, maybe the best, and top 2 power forward as well. He is S tier for sure. Andre Jackson Jr., nice budget card, good defensively. Actually, compared to a lot of these other pink diamonds, I think he is one of the more complete ones in terms of stats and badges. He's very athletic, 99 driving dunk, jumper's smooth, he's an elite defender, and he's fast. Really good for a pink diamond. I will go B tier, but I don't think he's much lower than mid B for sure. Koulibaly is going to go A tier for me. I think this Koulibaly card is a literal god for a pink diamond. I mean, his jumper's amazing. He's super athletic. He's an elite defender as well. And he also has a little bit of shot creation ability, even decent escape, decent like SIGs. Like overall, compared to a lot of these cards, he moves a lot better than them as well. I think he's legit A tier. I think he's one of the best pink diamonds that dropped for sure. Cade Cunningham is the second best point guard that dropped. Well, third best point guard that dropped yesterday, but second best that dropped in packs. Amazing card. Just everything he does is elite except for his fade. His fade is a question mark. That's the only reason I don't have him S tier, but he's definitely A. I think he's great. Pajemski, I'm gonna go C tier. He's just undersized. He's not a god at any specific thing. His jumper's really nice, but I don't think he's amazing. I think C tier is the right spot for him. I'm actually also going C tier for Jalen Brunson. Stat wise, very good. Badge wise, very good. 6'2" though, and he's not an elite slasher with a 70 driving dunk. I'm sorry, I know he's a dark matter. I don't think he's that good. I'm going C tier. Brandon Miller, legitimately good. B tier for sure. I think he's super duper solid. I think he does a lot of things well. I think his jumper's nice. He's pretty complete statistically. Badges are well rounded. He's 6'7" at the 2. Solid card for sure. Bryce McGowan's is a card that I don't really know a lot about, to be honest. He did hit a game winner in the Rising Stars game, or in one of the Rising Stars games yesterday, so shout out to him for that. He's not bad. Defensively, he's not great, though. He's missing some badges. I wish he was a little more complete. I have no idea how his jumper is. I got to be honest. If his jumper's good, maybe he's B tier. As is, I think C though. Just looking at the card, doesn't look like anything special on paper, but I haven't tried his jumper. If his jumper's godly, you could move him up a tier. Alperen Şengün, actually one of the better power forwards that dropped yesterday. His flaw is that he's only got like 86 speed though, which isn't a huge issue, but I think Sarr is better defensively, and I think they play similarly. Sarr's a couple inches taller as well. I would actually prefer Sarr over Şengün personally. I think B tier is totally fair, but I don't think he's a great card by any means. Buddy Hield's gonna be our first D tier card. Keep in mind, pretty much all these cards are good, so even if the card is D tier, that doesn't mean they're atrocious. Buddy Hield he's not good at anything except shooting, in all honesty, and he's a great shooter with a good release, but he's just not a good enough all-around card to where I could put him any higher than the D tier, in my opinion. Cam Johnson is I don't know, man. A really good shooter, but I feel like he's kind of in the mix with a lot of these other cards where it's just he doesn't do a ton besides shooting. I mean, he's not a liability defensively by any means. 6'8" small forward. Not an amazing slasher though. I mean, he's fine, but he's not special. His movement's not good. Basic dribble style, LeBron escape aren't good. I think C is where I'm going to go. I'm being pretty strict with these cards. I'm putting some good cards lower on this list. Jason Tatum, he ain't going higher than B tier. I'm sorry. He's got no movement at all. I can't put him higher than B tier. I don't care that his release is great and his stats and badges are awesome. His SIGs are just terrible. He doesn't have any shot creation ability whatsoever. But I am going to be honest, that doesn't, I'm sorry. You're right. I know there are people who are starting to type these comments. You put Tatum in B tier, you're crazy. You're right. I'm going to put him in A tier. I don't think he's insane, but I'm going to go A tier. I think that's the right spot to go. Bub Carrington, I don't think is very good. I don't think he's quite D tier because he is 6'5", but when I remember, if I'm not wrong, the card isn't that great. I mean, 91 speed's good, but defensively, ooh, he's kind of a liability defensively and only a 75 driving dunk. You know what? I changed my mind. He is going D tier. That card is not very good. Trae Young, no defense, no size. Not really. He can't dunk either. He's fun offensively as a shot creator and a shooter, but he's got too many flaws to not go D tier. Cason Wallace, great defensively, offensively, not special, but he's only 6'3" as well. I think C tier's fair. Wouldn't quite go D tier because he does play a lot of defense, but I don't love the card. Chris Paul, look, I loved his diamond earlier in the year. At this point, though, a dude who doesn't have a god tier jump shot, doesn't have like amazing SIGs. His movement isn't bad, but also has a 60 driving dunk and is 6 foot tall. I don't care what your defensive stats and badges are. He's 6 foot tall. I'm sorry. D tier for Chris Paul as well. SGA is obviously S tier. That might be the best point guard in the game. I am personally of the opinion Magic is better, but depending on playstyle and what you're looking for from your point guard, you can make the argument SGA is better, especially if you need a shot creator. If you need somebody to go get you a bucket at the point guard position, Shea can maybe be the best point guard in the game. Either way, he's certainly top 2. No doubt about it whatsoever. He is an elite level card with no significant flaws. I have him as S tier for sure. Dalton Connect is an elite shooter, but the honest truth is, kind of like Buddy Hield, he's bigger than Buddy, but he's not good at anything else. 75 driving dunk, defensively, he's mid at best. And he's not that fast, even 87 speed. He's just a great shooter. And I'm sorry, that's not enough. That goes D tier at this point in the year. I think his D live card's pretty good. I'm not sure, maybe I'm a little biased, so I'm not sure he'll stay in B tier. But 84 speed isn't amazing at the center position, but he is 7'1" with a 7'5" wingspan. Now, Sar is 83, and I have him in A tier because I think he's a god. The thing about this card is he's not quite Sar as a shooter. His jumper's not as good. He's got a 73 ball. But he's super athletic as a finisher. He's elite defensively. He's got a great player build, very tall hair, 7'1" with a 7'5" player wingspan, and like a bulky, big, large player build. Like, he's a legitimately very good inside big who can stretch the floor a bit. I think I'm going to leave him B tier. I think I'd take him over all the guys in C tier. I'm not actually, I don't think that's my bias there. I actually think that's probably fair. Anthony Edwards, jumper isn't good. I'm sorry. It's just not. I think well, did they speed it up? I feel like I remember they might have touched a couple of his animations. Let me see real quickly before I put him in C tier. They did put his jumper on quick and they changed his dribble style to Jalen Green, which is an improvement. You know what? Couple of changes there. He's only 6'4" at the 2. I'm going low B for him, man. I don't love the card, but I'm going to give him B tier. I think that's probably fair. Draymond Green, great defensively, not horrible as an athlete either. His stats are actually really good. His jumper's just not very good. Is it enough to kill the card? Honestly, does everything else well enough that me personally, I'd say no. I think C tier is fair, but I don't love the card by any means. Grady Dick is going to be either C or D. I think he's got the same issues as Dalton Connect, where he's just not that great at anything besides shooting, although he is definitely a better slasher. A 90 driving dunk versus a 75. A little more complete defensively. His jumper's generally good in my team. Levine escape isn't great, but pro dribble, I mean, you know what? I think he's better than Connect. I have Connect as the best card in D tier, probably. I think Grady will be the worst card in C tier to this point, or one of the worst anyway. Dame, I think Dame is Brunson level. Good jump shot, great slasher. He's a much better slasher than a guy like Brunson or a guy like Trae, who's a tier below. Defensively, he's still going to struggle. He's 6'2", and his stats aren't very good, but he is a great shooter, a great slasher, and I mean, overall, a really good shot creator as well. I wish his SIGs were maybe a little better, but defensively, he's limited. Is he limited enough to not be C tier? In my opinion, probably not, but I do think he's towards the bottom of C tier. If I have Brunson in C tier, though, I will put Dame in C tier as well. JD Davison should be more athletic than he is. He should have like a 95 driving dunk. I think he's got like an 85. Yeah, he's not an elite shooter though. Only 85 3 ball, 6'1" as well. Is just not that tall. Defensively, he's not bad badge wise, but his stats aren't great. He's got 54 strength, low interior, and he's only 6'1". I'm sorry, that is a D tier card to me. LeBron, obviously S tier. He is right there with Giannis, best small forward in the game. Card is amazing. just a even better version of his Opal, just like his Opal was a better version of the Pink Diamond. Card's a god. Easy S tier for sure. Jaime Jaquez, really nice, well-rounded option, super duper solid, smooth jumper, good slasher, good defender, versatile card, nice complete stats and badges, and a good jump shot. And a good escape. I'm totally fine with him in B tier. I think he's viable enough for sure. Jared McCain, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think he's all that great. I'll take a look at the card again real quickly just to make sure, but 92 speed, 45 interior, 75 driving. I'm sorry. Did I put him in D tier? I did put him in D tier, and I'm glad I did, because that's the right spot for him. Evan Mobley, even with his jumper sped up, which I'm pretty sure 2K did speed up his jumper's still bad. Even with it sped up, it is just not a good jump shot. The thing is, everything else about the card is awesome. It's enough to put him B tier, I think. I don't love the card because of the jump shot being bad, but he's so good at everything else that I think it's okay to put him in the B tier. He's not a bad card by any means. Jalen Wells, I have not used his jump shot, but I think I've played against it in salary cap a couple times, and I remember it being pretty good. He's got good speed. He's a nice versatile defender, solid defensive badges, not a bad athlete, got some decent shooting badges as well. Honestly, he's a 6'8", two guard. That's a good card, legitimately good card. High B. Could be argued as A. By the way, I'm being very strict, as y'all can tell, with how many A and S tier cards I have on this list. It's going to be a lot of B, C, and D, just because I think a lot of these guys are similar level. But Julian Strawther is actually going to get an A tier nod. Number 1, he's got Darius Garland dribble style. Number 2, the stats and badges are really solid. Number 3 is Sigs outside of the Darius Garland dribble style are also good. And his jumper's money. I think he is right there with Koulibaly. Those are the 2 best Pink Diamond guards that you can get, or at least 2 best Pink Diamond shooting guards. For me, I think A tier is totally fair. J-Dub would be A tier if he could play shooting guard, probably, because he does move well and his jumper is amazing. But he's a 6'5" small forward. It's just not that good. I think B tier is the right spot for him. Keontae George, I don't think is anything special whatsoever. I don't know. I don't think he's a special card by any means. He's what, 6'4" with a 6'8" wingspan point guard, low interior, low strength, and a 75 driving dunk. That is another bad card. That is another D tier card. Sorry, Keontae. Leonard Miller, 6'10", small forward, pretty complete stats and badges. Number 1, that's great size at the 3. Number 2, I think his jumper's pretty good. He's got really complete stats and solid badges too. De'Aaron Fox escape is also a W. I know basic dribble style isn't great, but he's got a good escape. And I mean, jumper is Rui base, which isn't bad. K to base, drop base. Well, I think that's a good upper too. Honestly, that should be a pretty good jumper. I think B tier is fair. A tier though, I put him in A initially. I don't know, man. He's not probably Strawther, Koulibaly level quite there. I think B is probably right. That's what I'm gonna go with for Mr. Leonard Miller. Mac McClung, I'm sorry, undersized. Not generally a great jump shot either. Again, I haven't used his shot, so I don't know for sure. I haven't used all these cards. There's 62 of them. I can't use them all. And 40 interior though, that's not gonna cut it, especially out of 6'2" PG. It's just not. So sorry, D tier. Steph, same exact story as Brunson. Fun to use, not a good enough slasher, not big enough. That's all there is to it. C tier is the right spot for him. Buzelis is a stud. I haven't done a gameplay with any of these Pink Diamonds yet, but I'm going to get y'all some gameplays on, especially the higher tier ones this weekend. And Buzelis is one of those. Buzelis is really good. I think he's a better Leonard Miller, another 6'10" small forward with very complete stats and badges. And I've heard his jumper's good too. And if that's the case, he really is a beast. Buzelis, I think, is actually an A tier card from what I have been told anyway. Darius Garland, same story here as Steph, JB. I mean, similarly, he has good movement and a very fast jump shot. And similarly, he's undersized and not an elite slasher. I think C tier is the right spot for him as well. Moses Moody, I think is fine-ish. I got to look at Moses Moody and actually see what he's looking like, though. Moses Moody is 89 speed, 87 defense, half movable is good, 85 driving dunk, 89 3 ball, soft set shot as well. If the jumper's, he's got De'Aaron escape. I'll give him C. Don't think I'd give him B. De'Aaron escape helps, but I think as of right now, he's probably a C tier guy. Karl Anthony Towns. I think if I have Şengün A tier, Cat is probably S tier because their jumpers are similar. Let me compare him to Şengün real quickly. Statistically, he does overall look to have a slight edge over Şengün, although it's not significant. Şengün does actually have the higher speed of ball. Badge-wise, pretty similar as well. Honestly, they look like pretty similar cards, considering their jumpers are pretty similar as well. Animation-wise, they're both on quick. They both have pro dribble style. KD escapes and better for Cat than it is for Şengün. Than I guess Chris Paul escape is. But Chris Paul escape's not even terrible. So, I think they're basically the same card in terms of level. I'm going Cat and B. I think that's the right spot for him. I think I'd rather have Sar too. I think that's actually probably a decently popular opinion. Anthony Davis is just a better version of his previous Opal, who I still like a lot. Smooth jumper, complete defender, great speed. He's a more complete, even better version of a card that I already thought was pretty good. I think A tier for him. I'd rather have him than Cat or Shingun, personally. Norm Powell sucks. That card is bad. He's undersized and his jumper's on slow, and he's just not all that good. Defensively, he's pretty bad. He's just not good. 6'4" shooting guard with a jumper on slow is like, that's a no-go. Pat Spencer, I don't think is very good either. Not a huge fan, although shout out to him for becoming an NBA rookie at 27, 28 years old, however old he is, and turning into a pretty good player, but low interior again. Just ain't quite going to cut. He's also slow for a 6'3" point guard. Only 85 speed is not going to do it. Jaren Jackson Jr. is actually getting one of the next S tier spots on this list. He is that good. He is better than AD. He's an amazing card. He's in like a lot of competitive lineups right now, and for very good reason. His diamond was great. This is a better version of that diamond card. Really, really great card. Jaren Jackson is elite in my team. We got to be getting towards the end of this list. Good Lord, I still have so many cards. This is going to be a long video, so I apologize if that bothers y'all. But Reed Shepard, undersized, just not going to quite cut it. He's not a good enough slasher. Don't think I'd recommend him. Kyrie Irving, same thing as all of these other short PGs that are in C tier. Fun to use. Not good enough as a slasher or size-wise. Scoot Henderson actually does crack the C tier in my opinion because he is an elite level slasher. I have not used him personally, but I've heard his jumper is good. He's super fast, and defensively, he's not a total liability either. Better than a lot of these other cards. I think C tier is fair. Kevin Durant, I will give an S tier spot to, although it's going to be end of S tier. I think as of the cards in S tier, he's probably, in my opinion at least, the worst, but he's still very, very good. And I think it's probably still very fair to have him. Yeah, I think it's fair to have him here in the S tier. He's really, really good. He's got a good fade. He's got good movement. His jumper's nice. It's on very quick too. He's a very good card. I'm going to put Castle in A tier. 6'7" elite defensive point guard with a smooth jumper. I'm sorry. That's an A tier card to me. Every day of the week. Very, very good card. No issues at all with Stephon Castle in the A tier. Trace Jackson Davis is 6'9" and not a good shooter. Heck no. Nikola Jokic is going on the same level as Cat and Shingun. Jumper could be better. Stat and badge wise, he's very good. I think he's B tier though, and that feels right to me. Tristan da Silva, kind of a budget beast. He's a little undersized the power forward position, but he's not a bad card by any means from what I've been told. People really like him. They loved his Amethyst. I remember that. His Emerald is like a salary cap card. People like that card a lot. I think he looks, honestly, to me, very, very good. Like a super complete, super solid option in my team. So I think it's probably pretty fair to put him here in that B tier on this list. Pascal Siakam, kind of like Tristan da Silva, good card, but undersized the power forward position. Still good enough, in my opinion, to be B tier. Yves Missi, that's a D tier card. He just doesn't shoot, and you can't have a non-shooting center, in my opinion, at this point in the year. Donovan Mitchell is the best of the small guards, in my opinion. He's a little bit bigger than all of those guys, especially considering he's got a 6'10" wingspan. He's an elite level slasher as well, which a lot of those guys in C tier are not. He is a B tier card to me, even though he's a small guard. I think he's the best of the group, and I think he is legitimately a pretty solid card. Reese Shea, if he had a better jumper, I'd have him A tier. As is, his jumper's not great, but he's 6'10" at the 2 guard position. He's a very good card. I think B tier's right. I wouldn't put him higher than that, though. Jaylen Brown's jumper is atrocious. It kills the card at a position where I think it's important to have a good jump shot. He goes C tier to me. Zach Edey, I'm putting him A tier despite having 60 speed because he's 7'5" with a money jump shot. I'm sorry, that's a glitchy card. He's tough to stop. He's really, really dominant on the inside as well. Legitimately a very good card, and to me, I actually don't really have any issue at all with him being placed in the A tier on this list. And the final card on the list is Tyler Hero, who I think goes in the B tier as well. I mean, the card is good, but not insane, I think is a pretty fair conclusion for Tyler Hero. He does a lot of things really well, but he's not a perfect card, if that makes sense. I don't know. Sigs could be a little better, but his jumper's nice. He's got good size, 6'5". He's got a good fade. Like, not a bad card at all. I think B tier is probably fair for him as well. I'd take him over all the C tier guards. So there you go. This is the list. You may not agree with the placement of every single card, but it's 62 cards. I did my best. It's a longer video than normal. I hope y'all did enjoy. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. Be back with more 2K content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.